Hello students, welcome back to my YouTube channel Maths and Matrix. In this video, I am discussing for you the previous year's questions for NDA 2 2022 paper. Set A mathematics paper questions we are discussing. So let us begin with the very first question. In this question number 1, we are asked how many 4-digit natural numbers are there such that all of the digits are odd. Means you are going to make 4-digit number, means you are going to fill the digits at ones place, tens, hundreds and thousand place, so that the digits that you are using all should be odd. Now what are the odd digits in our digits system, decimal digit system? You know, odd digits are 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9. So these are the 5 digits. Now any one digit can be chosen to fill the ones place as well as tens place, 100 place and 1000 place. So number of 4-digit numbers with such a criteria that all digits are odd is equals to, for each place 5 ways to go ahead with. So 5 into 5 into 5 into 5 4 times, that is 25 into 25, which is 625. So answer is option A. Alright, coming on to the next question, number 2, based on the binomial theorem. And in this question, if you see there, you are asked the value of this sigma. You are asked the value of this sigma 2 to the power r, c and r, where r is ranging from 0 to n. You all remember that a plus b to the power n goes as summation r is equals to 0 to n ncr a power n b power n minus r, isn't it? So this concept you can try to apply so that you get the target 2 power r. So to get the target 2 power r, I am setting a as 1 and b as 2. So that 2 power n, now 1 plus 2 the whole power n, if I expand, I mean 1 plus 2 the whole power n. So this goes as nc0 1 power n 2 power 0. Then nc1 1 power n minus 1 2 power 1. So on, the last term will be ncn 1 to the power 0 and 2 to the power n. So you see that this is nothing but the RHS. R is ranging from 0 to n, 2 to the power r, because r equal to 0 onwards, you see 2 to the power r will fit to the 2 to the power 0 plus then nc1 2 to the power 1 and so on, the sigma notation, and into ncr. So this value is what is there in the LHS. This becomes 1 plus 2 the whole power n, which is 3 power n, and hence the answer option B for this. Alright, going ahead with the question number 3. In this question you are asked if different permutations of the letters of the word mathematics, which comprised of 11 letters are listed as in the dictionary, how many words with or without meaning are there in the list before the word, the first word that starts with C. Now if you first of all arrange these letters of the word mathematics in ascending order, I mean alphabetical order, the first letter is A, which is twice, then we have we have C, then we have E, right, then H will come, and then I will come, isn't it? Then M twice, then we have S once, and then T twice. Now count down these letters. These are how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 letters. 11 letters are there. Now you have to arrange these letters such that you try to form the mathematics word, but in the process of that you have to find out in the dictionary how many words are there before the word which starts with C. So you try to make now in alphabetical order the number of words beginning with A. When you try to make alphabet A based words, so first letter you are fixing A alphabet, then there are how many places left? 10 places, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which are like 10 ways, 10 PR, that is 10 factorial. But in that there is a repetition of letters, M twice and T twice. So I should divide by 2 factorial, 2 factorial. Now, once you are done with all the letters that begin with A, now the turn is for C. But you asked the number of words before the word with C letter starts, means you asked the answer of this question only. That you have to evaluate here 10 factorial by 2 factorial into 2 factorial, which is 10 into 8 into 7 into 9, 6 into 9, I missed it, 10 into 8 into 10 into 9 into 8 into 7 into 6 into 5 factorial. 5 factorial you must be remembered 120 divided by, you are doing 4 because 2 factorial is 2 and again the 2 factorial 2. 2 2s are 4. So if you simplify this number, you are going to get 9,72,7,200. So hence the answer option C for this. See, you need not make here words starting with C because they ask the words how many before the word starts with C. Okay. Question number 5. Consider the determinant delta is equals to A11, A12, A13, which is a general matrix 3 by 3 they given. And they gave you A13 entry is YZ, A23 is ZX, A33 is XY. And they also have given to you minors of A13, A23, A33. So you know when minors are known, their corresponding cofactors, we know it by the formula Aij is equals to minus 1 to the power I plus j Mij. So accordingly, A13 will be the same as plus A13, which is Z minus Y. Then capital A23 will be minus M23, which is X minus Z, right? And A33 will be the same as M33, which is given to be Y minus X. And you know definition of determinant of a matrix, it's a sum of the products of the elements with their corresponding cofactors. Now we know their elements and their corresponding cofactors. So therefore the delta we can write it as A13 capital A13 plus then small A23 capital A23 and small A33 capital A33. So when we take up this determinant and we try to expand it, you will get the answer easily there. Small A13 is YZ, this is multiplied to Z minus Y, and then A23 is ZX, which is multiplied to X minus Z, and then we have A33 which is XY multiplied to Y minus X. And when you expand this, you know, you will get the determinant, I mean the value of the determinant equal to Y square Y into Z into Z, that is YZ square. The first term you will get it as YZ square, then second term you will get ZY square, then third term you will get ZX square, then fourth term you will get Z square X, then next term you will get XY square and minus X square Y. You know when you expand the first option now, you will get easily this answer. Hence I am telling you just to verify or at your end that the first option when you simplify, you will get this answer, and hence the determinant delta is the answer A. Alright, coming on to the next question, number 6, process based. They given us a matrix A and they asked us about the adjoint A plus A inverse plus adjoint A minus A inverse. So anyway, to find out A inverse you need adjoint A. So quickly we will find out adjoint A, but for that you know you need cofactor entries, isn't it so? So for cofactor entries, you need the minor entries. So quickly M11, when you find out, you delete first row and first column, and accordingly you will get minus cos square theta minus sin square theta, which is minus 1. Then M12, deleting first row, second column, first row, second column, 0, 0. So you are getting this 0. M13, deleting first row, third column, you will get this 0. Then we have M21, deleting second row and first column. So you will get 0. Then M22, deleting second row and second column, you will get minus cos theta. Alright. And M23, deleting second row, third column, you will get this sin theta. Okay. Then M31, deleting third row, first column, 0, 0, 0. M32, deleting third row, second column, you will get sin theta. Okay. Let me erase off this mess that happened on the matrix. And then you have M33, deleting third row, third column, which is cos theta. So now minus, you know, M11, you know, so A11 by definition it's no, whenever 1 plus 1 add to even number, accordingly A11 will be same as M11. 1 plus 2 add to odd number, so minus 1 to the power odd will be minus, hence A12 will be negative of M12. Like that rule if you follow, you know now all the cofactors from these minus I have listed for you. So accordingly I am writing the adjoint matrix. You know adjoint is the transpose of the cofactor matrix. Adjoint of A is transpose of cofactor matrix of A. So I should write these cofactor entries instead of row as a columns because I'm writing their transpose. So A11 will be same as M11, then A12 will come here along the column. Then you have the next A21 will be the 0, A22 minus cos theta, A23, this is odd, so this will be minus sin theta as per the cofactor definition. Then M31 0, M32 minus as per the cofactor definition, and then M33 same as A33. So this is your adjoint A. You can clearly see that if you add this matrix, okay, if you add this matrix 1 plus this minus 1 0, the 0 0 0 is there already, then 0 plus this 0 is there, then cos theta minus cos theta becoming 0, sin theta minus sin theta becoming 0, sin theta minus sin theta becoming 0, minus cos theta plus cos theta becomes 0. So first statement is a very true statement that sum of the adjoint A and A is happening to be null matrix. But what about A inverse? To know about the A inverse, you see expand across the first row, you see that the determinant is minus 1, right? The determinant is minus 1. So when you apply the formula of A inverse will be 1 upon minus 1 into the adjoint above, means minus 1 0 0 0 minus cos theta minus sin theta, 0 minus sin theta cos theta. When you apply minus sign inside, so A inverse will become 1 0 0 0 cos theta sin theta, 0 sin theta minus cos theta. So you see that the A inverse is same as A. A inverse is same as A. So when you subtract them, you will get null matrix. So this is the perfect. When you subtract them, you will get the null matrix. Now you have to check the second statement is valid. A inverse, when you add it to the adjoint A, it will be yes, because A inverse is same as A. So the statement 1 and 2 are actually similar. So all the statements 1, 2, 3 are correct statements. Hence the answer option D for this. Alright, coming on to the next question now. We have got the question number 6 done. So 7th now. Here X is a matrix of order 3 by 3. X is matrix of order 3 by 3. Y is a matrix of order 2 by 3. And Z is a matrix of order 3 by 2. Now consider ZY. When you take ZY, see ZY 2 is compatible here with this 2. Number of columns in Z is equals to number of rows in Y. So accordingly, this order will be 3 by 3. ZY order will be 3 by 3. And what is X order? 3 by 3. So yes, when you multiply this ZY into X, it will be matrix of 9 entries. So this statement 1 is correct. But what about Y into XZ? What will be XZ? X into Z. So it will be 3 by 2. XZ will be 3 by 2 and you are multiplying it with Y. What is Y? You are taking it in the front. Y was 2 by 3. So when you do it so, as per the compatibility, the resultant matrix will be of order 2 by 2, which will have 4 entries. So second statement is correct. Now they say third statement X into YZ is not defined. What is YZ? YZ means you are taking what? Y into Z. Here this 3 3. Number of columns in Y equal to number of rows in Z. So 2 by 2. YZ will be 2 by 2. But you have to take this with X. Is it possible? X is 3 by 3. So compatible is conformability condition. You know, number of rows in number of columns in first matrix is equals to number of rows in second matrix. That's a conformability condition is not satisfied. Number of columns in X is not equal to number of rows in YZ. That's why X into YZ is not defined. Correct. So all the 3 statements are correct. Hence the answer option D for this. Alright. Now coming on to the next question. Number 8. In this question they given that how many quadratic equations you can make up such that the sum of the roots, that is alpha plus beta, is equals to product of the roots. Means whenever you know sum of the roots equal to alpha as a product of roots for a quadratic equation having alpha beta as their roots, then how many equations you can make? You know the equation of the standard form when alpha and beta are the roots is x square minus alpha plus beta into x plus alpha beta is equals to 0. Now this is x square minus alpha beta x plus alpha beta is equals to 0. So what I am doing is both are same, right? I am taking it as k. So I will get x square minus kx plus k is equals to 0. So now you can see that alpha beta, if I though replaced it with the k, it's a unique value as alpha into beta, which is equal to alpha plus beta. So actually you are getting a unique equation, unique quadratic equation as x square minus kx plus k equal to 0. Now this k value is a fixed value as alpha into beta for a given quadratic equation. See, you have this quadratic equation ax square plus bx plus c is equals to 0. For them the roots are alpha beta, which are unique two roots for an equation, and for the unique two roots of the equation the alpha into beta value will be unique, right? So this is k is a unique value setting up into the quadratic equation, and hence it is satisfied by single equation, that is single quadratic equation. Hence the answer, how many you can make it? Just one. Okay, just one. Coming on to the next question, number 9. Consider the following statements, and there they say statement number 1, the set of all irrational numbers between root 2 and root 5 is an infinite set. Yes. How many irrational numbers? See, between two real numbers on the number line, there exists infinitely many real numbers. So now your numbers are root 2, root 5. Between every two real numbers there are infinitely many real numbers. So this is like, you can say set of irrational numbers which are infinite easily, and set of all odd integers less than 100 is a finite set. Perfect, correct. Odd integers less than 100, they are finite. In a set of 100 integers, 50 are odd, 50 are even. So you easily have 50 odd integers, right? So finite set. So hence the answer is like should be option C, where both these statements are correct. Coming on to the next question now. Question number 10. In this there are again two statements to verify which one or are correct. So first one they say 2 plus 4 plus 6 plus so on to n. What is it? Sum of even numbers. You know, sum of the even numbers forms the series with a arithmetic progression. This is series with the arithmetic progression. SN formula, you know, n by 2 a plus l, where a is the first term, l is the last term of the series. So now n is how many? N terms we are adding, so n by 2 only. A is 2, l is 2n. So when you simplify this, what do you get? Taking 2 common, n into n plus 1, which is n square plus n. They given it. Correct answer. So first statement is correct. Now statement number 2, they say that the expression n square plus n plus 41 always gives a prime number for every natural number n. No, it will not. Actually, there is a fact you can verify. N square plus n plus 41 will give a prime number, will give definitely a prime number when you give n, okay, when you give n less than 40. The moment you give n is equals to 40, you check the answer. N is equals to 40. What do you get? 40 square, 1600 plus 40 plus 41, which is 81. You add this, you will get 1681. Okay, which is not a prime number. Hence the statement 2 stating for the every natural number is wrong. So only statement 1 is correct, and hence the answer should be option A. Hopefully solutions are clear to you. Stay tuned to my channel. I'll be keep coming with the previous year's questions solved for you.